If you ever grabbed something in the store and it said all natural, heart healthy, or high protein on the front, and you didn't look at the back, you just threw it in your cart, this video is for you. Because the front of the packaging is marketing. The back of the packaging, now that's truth. If you're serious about your health journey, whether you're going plant-based, you're transitioning, or you're just trying to feel a little bit better in your body, this video is for you. You cannot ignore the labels. If this is your first time, welcome. If it's not, I knew you'd be back. I'm Carletta, your plant-based strategist, and I teach busy people how to make plant-based eating sustainable for real life. We're going to embark on a 6-part course on how to be a healthy plant-based eater. We're going to start off with nutrition labels, so come, let's talk about it. All right, so you see the presentation, we're doing a whole thing just for you. As you can see, we're talking about the label parts, we're talking about ingredients and why that's important, and we're going to summarize that all together so that you can get the big picture. Now let's first talk about reading the food label. So these parts are super important. Each thing matters, okay? First, when you look at the label, you start off with the number of servings per container. So that means however many servings in that container, it's recommended on how much you eat. Of course, a serving is a recommendation. It is not a requirement, but boy, does everything start to add up. Also, just to put it out there, you could also eat foods that don't have labels. But if you're going to eat something that has a label, we're going to make sure we know how to use it. Serving size. This tells you what the size of each serving is. This allows you to know how much is recommended that you eat, as well as how much nutrients is in each serving. Total calories per serving. So we know that if you have, for example, 2 servings in this container and it's 200 calories per serving, if we're eating 2 servings of that, that's 400 calories, basic math. But the main thing is we know that we're eating more or less than what is on the calorie amount. And if you're counting calories, that is really for you. I particularly don't count calories anymore, only because I try to eat food to have less labels. But at the same time, I do care about calories in the sense of I want the same caloric intake as anyone else, plant-based or not. Now this next one is a big one for us. As you can see, it's talking about fats, saturated fats and trans fats. We know that saturated fats are fats that go inside of our bodies and then solidify. We know that saturated fats are fats that get hard in room temperature. So that's things like butter, coconut oil, etc. But trans fats, that means that it's been chemically altered. So that means our margarine or our fried foods, those are trans fats. Cholesterol. Now, cholesterol we know is very rare to find in plant-based items unless it is one of those things that have fat, that has certain types of fats that do alter our cholesterol. Sodium, one of our electrolytes, but at the same time, it is abused all the time. This is something that's important to us, especially people who have high blood pressure as well as diabetes. Carbohydrates. Now, remember that carbohydrates is something that you want to have. You want to have a certain type of carbohydrate. You want to have a complex carb compared to a simple carb. So a simple carb means it's going straight into your blood and becoming sugar, and that's how your body processes it, where a complex carb means it has some fiber in it and it's slowly going to your bloodstream, and it allows your body to slowly gain its energy. Dietary fiber, my favorite. You know that I teach fiber, protein, flavor, and micronutrient support in my formula. And fiber is something that we want to have more of, but sadly to say, it lacks in most of our foods. Total sugar. Now, sugar can be the natural sugar as well as the added sugar. And as you can see there, they're both labeled. So they make sure to know that there's sugar in here, but there's also added sugar. Protein. We know that we're trying to get our protein up. We're trying to build our muscle. We're trying to help our body continue to build tissue. We're trying to move oxygen through our blood. Protein is super important. We want to make sure we know how much we're eating. And lastly, the bottom is vitamins and minerals that majority of the time changes with each update to the nutrition label. This is based on deficiencies that's going on in the United States. As you see right now in 2026, the big deficiencies are vitamin D, iron, calcium, and potassium. This is an example of a regular nutrition label. We're seeing here that these are a bag of pretzels, and with a bag of pretzels, 3 pretzels is a serving size. 3 servings are in this container. So ultimately there's 9 pretzels in here, and in those 9 pretzels, we see how much calories are in the container, how many are in per serving. We're looking straight across. We notice the words per serving versus per container. Now, all labels are not going to look like this, but this is a good example that I pulled. Looking at our calories, for this we have 110 calories versus 330 if you eat the whole container. And for some people, that's not a problem. But let's look at all the detailed nutrients that we have here. We have our total fat. So it's only 1% of your daily value in fat. That's what the DV stands for. The percent DV means your daily value. They're thinking of this in the sense of 2,000 calories for the whole day. So within that, only 1% is in one serving of these pretzels. Saturated fat, remember that's the fat that solidifies in your body as well as just in room temperature. And there is 0% of that, as well as this is not a fried food, so there is 0 trans fat. Cholesterol, remember, we're talking about how most plant-based foods do not have cholesterol. Most animals make cholesterol. Our bodies make cholesterol. So in these pretzels, there's no cholesterol. Now, sodium, we see that there's sodium here. 17% of our daily sodium, because we know that most pretzels have those big chunks of salt on them, and that makes the pretzels taste so amazing, right? Well, that's 17% already taken up in one snack, and that's only 3 pretzels. And that's compared to if you ate a whole container of it, that's 52% of your daily sodium in one container. We know that pretzels are made of carbs, so as you can see here, that's 8% of your daily carbs. The entire packet is 24% of your daily carbs. Fiber, there is some fiber in pretzels, as you can see here. There's only 7% in 3, and there's no added sugar. So yes, when it hits your bloodstream, you will get a little boost of energy, but it doesn't have a lot of sugar naturally in it. Now look at that protein. That protein's not very high, but we'll take as much as we can get in all the things that we eat. All right, it's only 3 grams. And remember, you're trying to eat a certain amount of grams per day based on your weight. And the 4 nutrients that are lacking in most diets are also lacking in these pretzels. So you see here is 0% of vitamin D, 0% of calcium, 6% of iron, and 0% of potassium. Now, wanting to make sure, again, we look at this. This is a sample of mac and cheese, okay? In this, we see that we're starting off at the top. We're looking at the serving sizes. I'm pointing as though you understand as I'm pointing on the presentation. But as you can see, starting at the serving sizes, we know how many servings and how much is a serving. We're then checking our calories. We're then checking for these basic nutrients, the ones that affect our body the hardest, the fat, the cholesterol, and the sodium. Then we're going to look at the nutrients that we want more of, which is going to be the fiber, the protein, and the things that are missing at the bottom. Now, obviously, this label is old because it was vitamin A, vitamin C, calcium, iron, but we know that that has changed. The footnotes at the bottom, okay, you can check them. They're just kind of give you some guidelines to the 2,000 calorie daily amount that is recommended. But the main thing is, and I will skip number 5, is go straight into the daily value so you know what percentages are being hit. As you can see, if it's low, it's 5% or less. And if it's high, it's 20% or more. Now let's look at how ingredients are important when it comes to looking at labels. We're not bashing any companies, we're not bashing any foods, but we want to be conscious of how this looks. This is a plant-based burger and it is advertised as being high in protein. The outside is packaging and the backside is the truth. So let's look at this label for these plant-based patties. So as we can see here, we're going to our servings first. There's 2 servings per container. 1 patty is a serving. And in 1 patty, we automatically get 230 calories. So if we eat a double patty burger, we're going to have 450 calories on the top. We're going to look per serving. You can also see per container, but I'm just going to go over what's per serving. Per serving, we have 18% of our daily fat in this 1 patty. The saturated fat is the fat that solidifies in your body and solidifies in room temperature. It is 45% in 1 patty, of your daily fat. That's not including you eating breakfast. It's not including you eating dinner. This is just a lunch. Trans fats, there are 0 trans fats. It's not a fried or a margarine. Cholesterol, remember we talked about how cholesterol is rare to find in plant-based items because typically most animals make it. Our sodium, 17% of our daily sodium. Jumping over to carbohydrates, we see that it's only 2% of our daily carbohydrates. And for something that's plant-based and healthy, quote unquote, it has no fiber. And remember, fiber should be number 1. There's no added sugar, thank goodness. And this is 26% of our daily protein. The nutrients that's most efficient right now, vitamin D, it has 0%. Calcium, it has 4% of your daily. Iron, it is 35%. And 2% of your daily amount of potassium. Looking even deeper into the ingredients here, we see that the ingredients are labeled based on the percentage that is in there. So the things that are labeled first are the things that have the most amount. The things that are at the bottom, that means they're the least amount in there. And as you can see here, it starts off with water as the number 1 thing that's in it. So it has the most amount of water than any other ingredient. And the least amount ingredient is turmeric, as it is at the bottom. But let's look at this. So we have textured protein concentrate, we have coconut oil, pea protein, some other oils, natural flavors. Just note that natural flavors can mean they could put anything in there. It does not give you any clarity on what those natural flavors are. But because it says plant-based and that it's vegan, we know that it is not from an animal, but sometimes natural flavors can also be from an animal. And then we have a bunch of preservatives. This keeps it preserved on the shelf as well as it attracts your taste buds. And that way you'll want to come back for more. This is an example of a label. We're looking at the ingredients first real quick. Notice it's everything that's something that we actually can recognize except for the natural flavor. All right, let's see what you looked at first. Did you look at the serving size first? Did you look at the calories first? Notice the calories is bigger, so they want you to look at that first. But how much protein is in this? How much of your daily fat? Look at the sodium. These are all things we're looking for. I'll give you a second to look over each item. What do you think? Is this something that you would want to put into your lunchbox, or is this something that you want to keep on the shelf? Here's another label. This is for plant-based pancake mix. As you can see here, a half a cup is a serving, but there's 8 servings in this container. 3 little pancakes give you 230 calories. Remember, we're looking for what is it high in and what is it low in. 5% of your daily and less is low. 20% or more is high. We have nothing high in here, but we definitely have some low and some medium. It's very low in fat. We see the protein here is 16% of our daily protein. We see that we have some added sugar into this one, making sure that we see that 18% of our daily sugar. And we're not even looking at the fiber here. We have 18% of our daily fiber. And then our deficiencies at the bottom are vitamin D, our iron, our calcium, and potassium. We see here that it has a large amount of iron. It's probably due to something in our ingredients that is more of the natural side. In summary, ultimately, we want to understand our serving sizes. If we're trying to keep energy, serving sizes is not going to be a big deal because we're trying to make sure we feed our gut the right things. We want to check the nutrition content. We want to look for the calories, the cholesterol, the sodium, the fiber, the carbohydrates, the fat. We want to look for the protein. Those are the big things that we know that there's certain things that are beneficial to us or things that are detrimental to us. So we want to check the labels for all of that. And ingredients are so important to us because we want to be able to read the ingredients and put things in our bodies that our bodies recognize. When we're putting in more chemicals than we are putting in actual real food, it becomes one of those things where your body is going to react. And if that means it has to have an autoimmune response, if that means it's going to have some inflammation, these are all causes to eating chemicals that our body wasn't recognizing. Now, why is this important? We ultimately know that when it comes to being health conscious with our foods, being mindful is what it's all about. And reading labels makes us mindful. It makes us thoughtful. It allows us to really dive deep into what we're putting in our bodies before we put it in. We know that portion control is also important, but portion control is also important for people who, again, are trying to lose weight and are trying to figure this out. But if you eat 5 apples, I promise you that you're not thinking about portion control. And let's not forget about dietary restriction awareness. Now, when it comes to dietary restriction, this is for people who have particular things, not just allergies, but even if you have diabetes, hypertension, there's just certain things you have to cut out of your diet that is not going to be beneficial, especially if you're trying to get rid of these labels on your body. That brings me to saying that reading nutrition labels are super important. Now, if this video was helpful for you, please like it, subscribe, come back, look at the rest of the course. We have 5 other parts to go through. And if you have any particular questions, put it in the comments. I love seeing the comments and replying to you. And I know you'll be back next week to find out what the next part of the course is. We're going on this journey to make sure that we are eating correctly for this year. This year is going to be different than any other year. We're going to make sure that we are ready for this health journey the best way we can. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.